Today we're talking about how to react correctly when you see the opposite in the 3D. So let's get into it, guys. Hello everyone, my name is Al and welcome to my channel. I am here making manifesting easier for you, sharing all my tips and advice so that you can use them to create the life I've always dreamed of. And if you're in need of coaching, go to my description box, all information's there. But right now, let's get into today's topic. So today we are talking about how to react correctly to the opposite result, to the contrast, to everything that you don't want that is happening in the 3D. And if you have watched some of my videos, you are going to know that I talk a lot about dismissing the 3D, not giving it energy, starving the 3D. And it is important to do that because you don't want to continue creating and recreating stuff that you don't want, that you actually want to get rid of. And you also want to achieve a point where you have a certain emotional balance that you can, through that balance, create consistent results. Right now, maybe when you look at the 3D, you think it's almost impossible not to react to it, okay? But when you look back in your life, you're going to see that there were stages where things used to bother you, that you used to be frustrated and annoyed by something that someone did or something in general, and now it doesn't bother you. And it doesn't bother you anymore because you changed your state of consciousness. You are a different person. Basically, every state of consciousness that we experience, that we pass through, they come with frames, different frames. So there is a way that I see myself, there is a way that I see the world around me and the people in it, okay? And with those frames, there is something called confirmation bias. So when I look to life through these lenses, I only see the confirmation of my story, the confirmation of my beliefs, okay? For example, if you're dating someone and in your mind, that person is a cheater, or you have the idea, that story about yourself, everyone cheats, okay? So if that person says something that doesn't really seem reasonable with you, you are probably creating the story, they're doing this because they have been cheating, or they are not giving me attention, they are not calling or texting because they are talking to other people. They are not eager to see me because they are involved with a third party. This is how we create reality through the lenses that we are looking at. So we interpret the 3D, our perceived reality, in a way that it confirms our beliefs, that confirms our state of consciousness. And that's the reason that if you want to change the 3D, you have to change that state of consciousness, the way you look at life, your lenses, basically. From the example that I gave, when you go to the end of you two being together and that person being faithful and only wanting to be with you, then you know exactly which state of consciousness you have to be. A state of consciousness that is not even aware of the possibility that that person would cheat on you. So you cannot continue feeding the ideas of your old state of consciousness, the idea that you could be cheated on, that that person could be unfaithful. The way to get a different result in the 3D is for you to get comfortable in a new state of consciousness, the state that represents your end, okay? How does it feel? How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about others? You cannot keep looking at the 3D through the eyes of your old version, okay? If you want commitment, if you want communication, if you want someone pursuing you, when you look at the 3D, you have to look at it from the eyes of someone who already gets it all the time, okay? If you have any specific person and your end is they are always pursuing me, they are always there for me, they are always sending me texts and calling me and wanting to hear my voice, then I am that person already, okay? If I'm not getting that right now in the 3D, it won't bother me, because my normal is to be pursued by my specific person, not what the 3D is showing back to me. So I can be unbothered by it. That's why, I typically say, if something's bothering you in the 3D, Give it an excuse. Say, well, they're busy. That's why they're not communicating right now with me. That's why they're not calling me. That's why they're not texting me. They're just busy. But as soon as they have a free time, they are going to contact me because they are dying to hear my voice. They are dying to know what I'm up to. This is how you react, because the person who you are is the person that is always getting confirmation of your new reality. So the way that you should react to the 3D is by looking at it from your end version, the version of you who already has that relationship, who already has that abundance, who is already working the job that they want to, or whatever you are manifesting. Basically, you are looking at the 3D from your end, and you're not getting triggered by your old limiting beliefs because they are not your beliefs right now. You don't see yourself as someone who gets left or cheated, or who is never getting what you want, or that your specific person said they don't love you. No, this is not of the matter. So when you are looking at the 3D and you are dismissing all of the things that is happening there, and that is not what you want, what you are doing, basically, you are saying that is not important in my reality. And because you're not making that important, it's not going to be. When you dismiss whatever is happening in the 3D and you don't feed it with your energy or attention, it doesn't mean that you are a doormat or that you are just accepting everything that is happening in the 3D. This way of thinking is a way of thinking of someone who doesn't really understand manifestation, okay? Because you manifest who you are. So whatever you are within has to be pushed out to the 3D. And if you're not spending your emotions and your focus and your attention on what you don't want, then you are not going to get more of that, okay? When you are looking at life from a different perspective and you are always assuming that everything is working out for you, when you are baptizing failures into success, then what you are saying is, it doesn't matter what the 3D is showing back to me, everything is a success. Everything is going to end up in a success. This is who I am. I am blessed. I am always getting what I want, and everything is always working out for me. Dismissing the 3D doesn't mean that you cannot talk about what you want, that you cannot voice what is happening within you. You can have conversations, you can address a problem, but you're not doing that from the perspective of someone who is frustrated, irritated, that is afraid that this is going to stay there forever. No, you are doing that from the perspective of someone who knows this is going to change. I don't have to worry about this, it's done, okay? I don't have to spend energy in that. I don't have to scream and cry and, beg or do anything. I can just talk and have a conversation like I have any other conversation, okay? I don't have to put my energy into it. I don't have to fear an undesirable outcome. I know everything is going to work out for me in the end. That's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and we're going to talk soon. Bye, guys.